Hello, I hope that you are doing fine. In this video we are going to connect our database in Amazon Web Service with pgAdmin, and we are going to conduct some useful queries to access valuable information in our database. Okay, let's move on. The first thing that you have to go is to download pgAdmin, and then you have to go to the web page and download the version for your operating system. Okay. Then once that you have done that, remember that you have to create probably a password and a username. Remember this because you will need that information when in the next step that we are going to do now to connect to our server. Okay. Then I go here to pgAdmin, and I go like to go to object and register a new server. And here basically what I go like to do is the name is going to be Carbon App 23. I go to the connection, and here in the connection you have to go to Amazon Web Service, to Amazon RDS, and then you have to copy the endpoint that you have in your database, and you paste this information here. And it's important that you have the inbound rules that we created in the previous video open, because otherwise you are not going to be able to access to this database because the database is protected. Then watch the previous video and check that you have the inbound rules allows you to access to the database from your IP. And here you have to introduce the password that we created in Amazon Web Service in the previous video. Then is basically I introduce here my password, and Postgres is the username that we also choose in the previous video, is the username that we choose in our database. Okay, then we save this, and now here I'm going to close this. Here now we are in our database in Carbon App 2003. We have to go to Elastic Bean database. We have to go here, and then we have to click here to run the queries. And if you go here, you have two tables. That is the transport table inside this database, and you have the user table. Okay, and then basically now what we are going to do is to make some queries to access some valuable information from that database. Okay, then the first query, for example, is select from here I have to type public user table, and then we click here and we execute it, and then I have two users, the Bjork and the Ren, and this is the password and this is the email. Okay, then another useful query is, for example, you can customize this, and instead of have all the fields, all the columns, you can have username and email, for example, and then you run this query, and now you only will have the username and the email. You can do exactly the same thing for the transport table, for example, kilometers and transport from transport table. Then we run this query, and here we have all the kilometers and all the transport. Another useful command is order by, and then basically here what we are going to do is select all the fields from the transport table, and I'm going to order this, order by kilometers. This is going to be the test, and then we execute it, and then we have this is organized by kilometers in the extended way. We also can order this, for example, by fuel, and we can organize this instead by accent then. And then we have organized this and we organize this by type of fuel, okay? Another type of interesting clauses is the where and the and clauses, and then this is something we are going to run also some queries with that. Is, for example, here we are going to type where in capital letters, where fuel is equal to diesel, and we type this. Information, and here we have the information below. Okay, we have we have organized this, all the transports, and just for diesel. Okay, then we can organize this diesel, and for example the and clause, that and transport equal, for example, to car. Okay, and we can run this query, and we can run this query introducing here and or, for example, or transport equal to motorbike, and we save this information, and then we run this, and now we have car and motorbike, but it seems that the motorbikes don't have diesel in my table. Okay, then that is how it is. Then maybe ferry, I don't know. Yeah, the ferry, it has also diesel. Okay, this is another clause that can be interesting. The next clause that we are going to study is in, and then is where, and here we are going to type transport in car and ferry, and we run this query, and we have all the entrants that the transport is car and ferry, and we can also order this, order by fuel, and we run this query, and we have this the car and the ferry, and it's ordered by the type of fuel. Okay, we are going to conduct some other queries. For example, is something useful to calculate the minimum and the maximum and the average. Then basically what we are going to do next is we are going to calculate, for example, the maximum kilometers. This, for example, is max, the maximum number of kilometers in the public transport, and then we run this query, and we have that the maximum number of kilometers is 30. We can also calculate the average of kilometers, and we have 19, blah blah blah, but now imagine that we want to round this. Then we can round this information by typing round, and now we have 19. The last command that we are going to run is the sum. We imagine that we want to know the number of the sum of kilometers, and then basically this is what we are going to do now, is select, and here instead of round and average we are going to type sum, sum of kilometers, from public transport, and then we run this, and the total number of kilometers that have been is 424, and this is basically some of the queries that we can run. Basically, in the lectures, what we are going to do is to cover more we are going to do more queries, and you have all this information in the database, in the web page of the course, and of course you have a lot of links there and to the documentation. The documentation of this is quite wide. My knowledge on this programming language is quite limited, and therefore I'm not going to be able to explain you more, but this is a good starting point, and from this you can run out of queries to access to the database. I also encourage you to watch the video that I post in the link, in which basically you can access to this database not by pgAdmin, by the command line. I have done this by myself, but I don't have right now the knowledge to create proper videos to access and to create databases in Postgres by using the command line. I will post this information probably in the next months, but right now I don't have that skills. But the video that I post is super useful, and I have followed the instructions of the teacher, and it's quite illustrative and quite easy to follow. Then I encourage you, if you are interested to know more about Postgres, I think that that video could be a good starting point. Okay, I hope that you have enjoyed the video, you have learned, and see you in the next video.